Hello, good morning, and welcome to this fabulous day over here in the Republic of Ireland. Welcome one, welcome all. Good morning, live chat. How are you? Delighted you could join me for this fabulous uh, bank holiday weekend. As we approach the bank holiday weekend, the sun is splitting the sky here in the Republic of Ireland. Live chat. How are you? Emma in the house this morning. Vaughn Malone, Rogue Z. Good to see you. Also Liam Kelly, Shawnee Mac Blue, Graham One, Rogue Z again. As I say, Liz Pepper, and the way to name a few, and Katie Bailey. Good morning, one. Good morning, all. Get started as I always do. Don't forget to smash that like button. Hit the subscription button if you do not, if you haven't done so already. And please leave your thoughts, comments, and witticisms in the comment section below. We do love a good read through afterwards. Please consider becoming a member of the Grandstream by clicking join now on Facebook, because little cup of coffee a month can help support the platform. Links in the description. On how you can support, also links to the merch store. Please continue to use over there. Thank you for your feedback over there as well. And G-Man is keeping an eye out for all your suggestions for new t-shirts and new designs. And thank you for your continued support over on the Gran Torino website, World Wide Web, grantorino.ie. As we always do, and as I always do, a big shout out to our friends over at the Little Farmer. We love our enzymes so much. Small wonder they are so good. 1 kilogram is equivalent to your one shot is equivalent to 1 kilogram of your daily green veg. Just shake, shoot. Don't forget to enter the promo code over here, GT, and you'll be giving a wonderful discount. Live chat, Rage Cage, good to see you there this morning. The very wonderful and the one and only. Logan Walker in the house. Yes, I've seen Mark Man 09. Good morning to you. Really appreciate that. Okay, as we wake up to what another spectacular bank holiday weekend, we have religious ceremonies taking place over here in the Republic of Ireland. I do want to touch on that with you. Going to touch in and read a Twitter thread from our good friend over at the Catholic Arena. And I also have a read through, 2 quite long read throughs. And before I forget, and I didn't set it up, hopefully she won't be too mad at me yet. Casey, I'm just going to send you the link now. I'm only just coming to grips with it that I haven't done so already. Let me see if I can just get this organized quickly for Casey as it appears. I will put that there. I will drop that there like so, and then I will drop it down. I will then go over here as the wheels of destiny are moved all around me. Some lovely clarity coming through on the camera since the reset. I know many of you have probably suffered the same fate when you've had to restart your computer and you've lost a veritable wealth minefield of personal documentation of photographs and videos or whatever I've had. But we soldier on. It's not the end of the world. We can recoup and we can recover. First of all, I'll touch on one or two little video drops for you this morning. I was really delighted to see the exchange on RTE last night. I'd love to be able to play the video for you. It's all over the Twitter sphere. Our former Attorney General over here, Michael McDowell, tackling the wonderful, the venerable, the one and only Dr. Ebun Joseph over here last night on RTE. And I do believe she was, or the conversation went particularly well. And if that is the state of rational discourse going forward, then we have a lot to look forward to indeed. Speaking of which, down in the south coast of the UK, we have what I would only describe as an invasion occurring on a daily basis. We also see over with our friends in Italy that the constant flow coming across the Mediterranean is carrying on unabashed, and then that transfers over to France and down to the south coast of the UK, where French naval ships are escorting migrant boats into the UK, and the UK, as we speak, is taking a plethora of illegal immigrants that are coming through. And how are they treated when they get here? Well, this citizen journalist was on hand to give us report on the south coast of England.
What's the point in having borders? I mean, really, what is the point? Look how many there are. So many. Let's try and count. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I'm counting 18 just on this one load. This is for one coach. Just one coach. Look how they get treated. They're welcomed in open arms. This is absolutely disgusting. I'm the only person here reporting. No media whatsoever. But here you go. You can see exactly what happens. Straight onto the coaches. How about that?
And again, I encourage you, citizen journalists, should you see anything, don't forget you can submit your reports over at the Grand Torino website, World Wide Web, grandtorino.ie. Send them over to me over there, and if they are and we are able to I apologize, I didn't turn my phone on mute, and quite typically I get a phone call to come through and it's not. There we go. Yeah, it's not true. Strange. Stop calling me. Stop calling me. You know who you are. I'll ring you back. I'll call you back. Yeah, apologies about that live chat. We had a little bit of a interference there. The phone is on silent, but the call did manage to get through. 5x5 day out. Sorry for the delay. As I say, reports coming in from citizen journalists, keeping an eye on their reports. If you are or you do have any information that you would like to share, don't forget you can use the Grand Torino website, World Wide Web, grandtorino.ie. Send us in a link, and if you aren't able to upload there, send me your contact details, and I will come and take them from you forthwith. Also, from our House of Oireachtas TV last night, questions are beginning to be asked. It seems that the pressure, I don't know if it's coming from us, from you, live chat here, but there are now gremlins in the Houses of Parliament here in the Republic of Ireland, the House of the Oireachtas. And these questions are now being asked. And this is in relation to the ongoing hunger strike situation here in Catholicism. But I don't know if it's known or unbeknownst to him, to this gentleman here, whether he did indeed to imply that we should be refusing asylum seekers and we should be returning them should their claim be found to be fraudulent. I remind you from the last estimates that over 80% of asylum seekers didn't pass the muster, and they have to go through their requisite 3 appeal cases at a cost to the taxpayer of 80,000 per appeal, and then they are still not required to leave. Let's check in with what this said yesterday.
Why is it that we shirked our responsibility to actually assess those who come into the country as genuine asylum seekers, genuine refugees or economic migrants, and where they did not fit the criteria to enter the country, that they would be dealt with in a short period of time and sent home if they did not fill the criteria? That might sound heartless, but by doing what we've done, we have affected those who came into the country and made their lives miserable. So we have, by sticking them in these godforsaken places for years on end. Now, I don't see a way around the not-for-profit. I thank the profiteers that actually provided the accommodation we couldn't provide as a state. So I'd love somebody to explain that.
Yeah, absolutely horrendous conditions. 5-star hotels, 3 square meals a day. You're practically your own turnkey accommodation. And meanwhile, Irish children go hungry on the streets. Irish citizens sleep above the stars. But our accommodation that is provided for them, 5-star luxury hotel accommodation, is not good enough for our new neighbours. So they've decided to go on hunger strike. I see there's 1 or 2 very veritable candidates for the lack of food being able to stay on the tables down there. But I digress. I won't go into it. Just keeping you aware. Those of you checking in from all around the world. Lovely to see some new names again, as we said. Some lovely new names joining us as well. With Italy poised to leave the EU, you guys will be swamped. I understand that's Anne Colleen Wesson Etters. new name there in the live chat. Fantastic to see. Okay, let me continue on before I forget. Hopefully a good sales in the background. I did say I would give Keisha an extended time this morning. Let me just send her on the link. Yikes. That's not what I want. You're the one that I want. Ooh, 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 honey. The one that I want. I don't know where that came from. Don't ask me where that came from. I'll take care of this morning. But in getting a whole raft of things sorted out, this kind of just slipped by the boy. Where are you? Scooby, where are you? I know you're here somewhere. I will dig it out. Have I got you? I haven't. We haven't. We have. There we go. Bada bing, bada bong. Cool. Now she has the link. So when Keisha is able to join us, I will bring her on. But I'm going to go through one or two Twitter threads here. Well, like I said to you, first one's coming from our good friends over at the Catholic Arena over here in the Republic of Ireland. Now, with the celebrations going on unabashed here at the Croke Park, our national stadium for Irish sports, have been sequestered by the Muslim community in celebration of Eid, continuing on, happening now this morning as we speak. But I want to bring you this study, or this Twitter thread here for a good friend over at the Catholic Arena. It starts. 2018 study found that 59% of the Irish public admitted to wanting few or no Muslim migrants. 57% of young Muslims want Ireland to be an Islamic state, and 28% of young Muslims political violence sometimes justified. Going through the list again, either 59% of the Irish public said they wanted to allow either just a few or no Muslim migrants to come and live in Ireland. 25% of the Irish public wanted to allow either just a few or no Roman migrants to come and live in Ireland. 42% of the Irish public wanted to allow either or just a few or no European migrants to come and live in Ireland, and no other ethnicities were polled for. A 2000 Irish Independent RTE primetime poll found more than half of young Muslims, 57%, believed Ireland should become an Islamic state. 28% of young Muslims aged between 16 and 26 believe violence for political ends was sometimes justified. And more than a third of all Muslims, 36%, said that they would prefer Ireland to be ruled under Sharia law. The thread continues. The Festival of Sacrifice at Croke Park is not an organic religious event. It is merely another saga in the NGO manufacturing of the Ireland that they desire. A couple of the usual known entities promoting and pushing out. We won't go through the list. I may just try. Might not be as slow with the restart on the laptop. We wait and see. I hear the pitch at Croke Park isn't in use these days. Get a nice sunny day and you're sorted. Absolutely, Brian. Yeah, fantastic. Great use of. We have our very own Dr. Umar Al-Khawdri. Can anyone help find Muslims in Dublin to find a super open space to perform Eid prayer while maintaining social distances? Just to give you a brief description of some of the characters that are at play over here. And I do believe more will become known about Dr. Al-Khawdri as we go forward. The Immigrant Council also had a great had a point to put in, and they put in their Twitter handle, but the thread continues on. There are only 63,000 Muslims in Ireland. The fastest growing religion in Ireland are Pentecostal groups and variations of Orthodoxy alongside Hinduism. These are driven primarily by Ireland's migration levels from Romania, Nigeria, India, and Eastern Europe. The demographic decline of Catholicism in Ireland, down 130,000 in the last census, is twofold. A younger generation who are alienated from the faith, and B, a failure to replace the older generations dying with younger Catholics due to the disappearance of the family unit. The alienation is the key factor. Many Catholics who attend Catholic secondary schools are taught by open enemies of the faith who mock and slander the church in front of students. Most religious teachers are either non-believers or theologically inept. In recent years, Catholic schools have been conduits for promoting drag queens, Fine Gael, LGBT propaganda, and even abortion. We scroll on through. When Dermot Martin steps out in Croke Park tomorrow, he will do it alongside Roderick O'Gorman, who have said he wants religious ethos out of the schools, and he will receive scant praise from the left, who hate all Catholics equally. In fact, this is the same left who will complain about people praying the rosary outside Croke Park, while they coordinated campaigns during the Pope's to book tickets to stop people going, asked journalists to conduct fake stories about a morgue being built. And again, Sinn Féin's, although you've probably seen that on social media circles, Fintan Warfield doing his queer pose. I won't show you the rest of it because it's too early in the morning, but a lot to be desired, for to say the least. The thread continues. The same left who will oppose the rosary at Croke Park went after Jason Everett last year because he wished to talk to Catholic kids about having a life where you don't take advice from the likes of Fintan Warfield. Catholicism is not an NGO. It is not acceptable for the likes or Troker to stand beside Antifa and still get funded by bishops and the laity. Likewise, it's not acceptable for bishops to neglect the faith while keeping up appearances. Very well said. And on this here, it was reported this week that Athlone Town had seen a phenomenal similar to trends in much of Western Europe as their Latin Mass attracted higher attendance than those in our HSE-regulated parish Mass. Latin Mass is indeed the way to go. This is where the church is going. The mainstream elements will be shocked in 5 to 10 years' time as swaths of parishes close and face destruction, as in France. But the traditional counterculture is growing and growing away from the public eye. Dermot Martin's appearance at Croke Park would want to be the last sad public acts of the Vatican II Catholicism in Ireland. Another occurred around Easter with the whole country locked in. Muslims were invited to issue their call to prayer, which denies Jesus during the Mass. The celebrant later quoted Pope John Paul II's interfaith meeting as a justification for his deeply and offensive, hurtful act. I will read out this piece here that was submitted in. Let me see if I can just bring it up for you there. I've contacted Parlar because I was struck with a very large gap in the accounts. I read that is Paul can have the same Muslim call to prayer, the Adhan, to mingle with the Mass he celebrated at Manger Square in Bethlehem on March 22nd, 2000. In that case, it was planned in advance at the highest level of the church. To my knowledge, no one ever accused the Pope of heresy or of celebrating a satanic Mass because of this. No one said that the Pope acquiesced to an act of Islamic triumphalism. Parlar said that he tried to tell his critics about the World Day of Prayer for Peace that Pope John Paul had initiated in the Assisi in 1986, when representatives of many religions prayed, each in their own way, but side by side. I dare not mention Pope Francis's visit to Abu Dhabi and the statement co-signed with the Grand Imam. He said, referring to the groundbreaking document on human fraternity for world peace and living together, the same people who criticize me have it really in for Pope Francis as well. We finish off that thread there from the Catholic Arena. Again, another astute account. And I will finish off there. Casey is in the green room. Casey has joined us. I am going to go through one more Twitter thread I did have set up for you this morning. But we wish the celebrants down at the GAA the very best, but we do not wish it to continue. But it's only going to grow, so we have to keep our eye on it and make efforts to reduce it and get them back into their mosques. Okay, so for Fintan and the rest of the crowd, I don't want them to feel left out while I steer the Éire of the Grandstream into the direction of the El Eid celebrations in the National Stadium here today. And we will watch with bated breath next year when it says, as I said to you last night, it's only going to get bigger. And will they sacrifice any animals on our sacred ground? Will there be blood spilt on Croke Park's grounds again? Some might say. Okay, I'm going to go through this last one here, Casey. It's going to be a little bit. It's an 18-piece thread. I did mean to go through it quite some weeks ago. If this is an older one, but I think it's appropriate. If I'm going to have a pop at one, I'm going to have a pop at the other two, and not to let the LGBTQPI community to feel left out. I bring you this morning. Let's add this to the stream. This is from a Twitter handle called Floralina. Bear with, and we'll go through this morning as well. She brings up this account brings up some interesting facts in relation to the LGBT and the queering of our new curriculum here in the Republic of Ireland. Let's get this through, and then we'll bring Casey in short with. 1 of 18, Ireland and the UK are working together. Irish LGBTQ plus NGO Shout Out held a panel discussion in October 2019 in Dublin called Queering the Curriculum. The Shout Out said, join us in the Douglas Hyde Gallery October 29 for a panel discussion with She Decides, exploring bold and brave approaches to LGBTQIA inclusive in education, featuring a host of names. The thread continues. 2 of 18. A speaker at the Queering the Curriculum event was Ren Dennehy, aka Avoca Reaction, a queer performer. He performed drag story time at the recent children's festival, Cruinniú na nÓg, run by Creative Ireland, at which Tanya Banotti, the niece of Michael Collins, is the director. I know I'm going to be slaughtered for that pronunciation word. Absolutely horrific, I know. Please forgive me. Florina continues. Let me see if I can just get rid of this down at the bottom here quickly. And I will. My apologies. Just bear with 1 second. I just want to get rid of this. Okay. Get rid of that. Okay, go back. Aha! We're getting there, light chat. Bear with. We've got rid of it. Okay, it continues. Let me bring this back up. Fantastic. Okay, Florina continues. 2 of 18, 3 of 18. Another speaker at the Queering the Curriculum event was Cecilia Galligan, chairperson of Into LGBT Plus Teachers Group, primary school teacher at Balbriggan, a workshop presenter at the recent Into and Equality Conference, where Ellie Barnes of Educate and Celebrate was the keynote speaker. I've played a video about her presentation there at Wexford many times. Shout out said, join us for Queering the Curriculum DHG Dublin next Tuesday, the 29th of October. Our next speaker is Cecilia Galligan, bi, queer, primary 2 skill. She's bi, a queer primary school teacher, and chair of the Into LGBT, and so much more. Come along to meet Cecilia and hear more. 4 of 18. The idea of queering the curriculum is also the goal of the UK's Educate and Celebrate, which Ellie Barnes' colleague Anne Carlisle explains. They want to weave LGBTQ plus through every aspect and weaving it through the curriculum all year long. Let me see if this plays for you. We'll give it a try. Let me know if this comes true like that, the sound. Is that coming through for you, 5x5 live chat? No sound. Okay, sorry about that. It's not coming through on the speaker. I'll leave a link for the thread. I'll put a link for the thread in the comment section when we bring Casey on short with. 5 of 18. Controversial figure Peter Tatchell is a patron of the Educate and Celebrate. Tatchell and Ellie Barnes have given 15 demands to the British government on reforming the RSE sex ed. Tatchell has been advising LGBTQ plus activists and politicians in Ireland on the reform of Ireland's sex ed. I've previously played this piece here from Tatchell, and you'll also note Martin McGuinness, I can't think of that chap's second name. We'll crack on. 6 of 18, 2018. The Irish establishment embraced Tatchell at Dublin Pride, with Minister for Children Roderick O'Gorman spoke at the NXF Dublin Pride debate and was interviewed by GCN's Brian Finnegan. Finnegan now works with the Social Dems Brian Sheehan at the LGBTI NGO, the ILGA, funded by John Stryker. And again, the infamous tweet there from the now Minister for Children, standing alongside Peter Tatchell at that Dublin Pride event. 7 of 18. As early as August 2018, Ellie Barnes Educate and Celebrate have been working with the Irish National Teachers Organisation into their goal, queering the curriculum and smashing heteronormativity. Left and right is Hilary Egan, Ellie Barnes, and Alison Gillian of the Into organisation. Continuing on, 8 of 18. In 2016, John Gilmore Kavanagh, speaker in the photo, was a lecturer at CCC University, UK, and board member for Liargas, adapted by Irish Education Minister. 2016, Gilmore Kavanagh, co-chair of the CCCQ, organised a panel discussion on re-radicalising queers with Peter Tatchell as the keynote speaker. We continue on, the 9 of 18. In that re-radicalising queers discussion, speakers included Peter Tatchell and Stonewall's Director of Campaigns Policy and Research, Paul Tucock, no pun intended. Destructing the heteropatriarchy within society was discussed. Barnes also lectured at the CCCU's 2016 LGBT History Month. Andy Bloor, RFSA, says the brilliant Peter Tatchell at Canterbury CCC Uni at our CCC Queers event, eloquently and passionately in equal measure. 10 of 18. The Into LGBT Teachers Group have acknowledged the UK's Stonewall for permitting the use of their slogan, Different Families, Same Love. This is being used in Irish primary schools to teach SPHE and the RSE sex education. The AMO retweeted this. Different families, same love resources will help schools to tackle homophobic and transphobic bullying. Moving along, 11 of 18. Youth Works Ireland's current president, Deborah Fackeye, tweets about Stonewall UK funding her travel to Birmingham in 2019. John Gilmore Kavanagh was the president of Youth Work Ireland from 2010 to 2013. Deborah tweeted out, at this time, organisations like Stonewall UK and UK Black Pride, and especially At the Proud Trust, funding me to travel to Birmingham for the day, are such clear examples of putting your money where your mouth is and showing the necessity of investing in the LGBT POC communities. Number 12 of 18, Youth Work Ireland and Deborah Fackeye are campaigning on reforming sex ed in Ireland, and Fackeye has said that the NCCA have chosen Youth Work Ireland to be its critical friend. In December 2018, Fackeye tweets about discussing reforming sex ed at the Google headquarters in Dublin. Deborah tweeted out that day, had a really cool day at Google HQ yesterday, discussing at Youth Work Ireland's consensus process, as well as reforming the sex ed across the country. What indeed is that person doing in a corporate entity talking about reforming the national school curriculum? Things that make you go, 13 of 18, June 2018, Ger Halbert, an education officer for the NCCA, the National Council for Curriculum and Assessment, tweeted about Peter Tatchell. Ger and John Halbert, acting deputy director, chief executive of the NCCA, have been working on developing student voice in Irish schools. Ger Halbert tweeted out, we owe brave human rights activists like Peter Tatchell so much. Peter Tatchell tweeted on the 14th of June 2018, at the World Cup countdown clock by Red Square, thanks everyone for your kind wishes, but please focus on this freedom struggle of persecuted Russian and Chechen LGBTs and the heroic Rulag BTNet who defended them. They are the reason I did this protest. Solidarity with the LGBT Russia. I wonder how that's going for you with President Putin at the reins. 14 of 18. On the 1st of November 2019, John Gilmore Kavanagh was a contributor at the Youth Work Ireland Sexual Positive Health Conference in the Mansion House, Dublin. Children aged 14 plus attended. Issues discussed were holistic sex ed, consent, porn, and PrEP. John Gilmore also put it out on his personal social media. I wonder if this will pop up. A very flattering picture of, I love nights out with my boys. I'd be lost without these beauts. Fantastic. Fantastic. And these are the people that are coming into the classroom. These are the people that our government wants to bring into the classroom. Sure, why not, GT? Sure, why not? Let me go back here. Sorry for the jumping around. And we continue. 15 of 18. Several days ago, John Gilmore Kavanagh, recent Grand Marshal of the Dublin Pride, posed this question. I wonder if at Ciara Kelly Doc will also apologise for jumping on the bandwagon. Full statement and apology regarding to the recent events involving Minister Roderick O'Gorman. We won't go through that. But continues, 16 of 18. Dr. Ciara Kelly has provided airtime to the LGBT plus community's drive to reform the sex ed. In this video, she interviews two of the participants in the Youth Work Ireland's Positive Sexual Health Conference of 2019, at which John Gilmore Kavanagh was a contributor. Is the sex education failing our LGBT kids? Discusses at the lunchtime. Listen to the podcast here. It's a 1 minute thing. We won't play it through. Again, like I said, I'll drop the link out when Keisha comes in. 17 of 18. The controversy continues regarding Educate and Celebrate Together, which celebrates CEO Ellie Barnes' keynote speech in February 2020 at the Into Parental Conference at the Clayton Hotel. Peter Tatchell is a patron of Educate and Celebrate. I've played that clip there for you before, in which he describes that not contacting parents or indeed engaging parents in the sex ed, and if they do come down, not to engage in the one-on-one battles, just placate the parents, tell them you've heard their concerns, and then just write it off and press on regardless. And as Peter Tatchell also said, to make this even more, as they trialed it, get the parents to actually physically come down and take their children out of the classroom if they actually do not wish their children to be educated, and they had a drop-off rate. So these NGOs, these facilitators of queer theory in our classrooms are actively bypassing parents and trying to subvert their sexual education of their own children by not including them or making it as difficult as possible. We know the tactics, and yet it still rolls on. I just thought I wanted to bring that Twitter thread to you there this morning. I didn't want anybody to feel left out. If I'm going to have a pop of one group of people, I'm going to have a pop of two groups of people at the same time. So yes, a lot going on over here in the Republic of Ireland. We continue, we bring forward. But anyway, we're going to bring in our Polish gunslinger now. It's time to give her an extended period of time because we've missed out on the last couple of weeks. Let's bring her in here now, ladies and gentlemen. The one, the only. Here she comes. It's Lady Keisha. Can you hear me?
Yes, I hear you. Thanks very much. Hello, everyone. I hope you're doing great. I think the weather will be very nice today. It's already quite warm, at least in Dublin.
Keisha, I don't know if you've seen this. I don't know if you have seen it, but I do not consent. Do you consent? I literally do not consent.
No, I do not consent. Absolutely not.
I'm going to let you take it away, Keisha. Walk away.
Yeah, so there's been a lot going on recently, and there's some new events coming. So I'll just touch on very quickly on the fact that, well, yesterday our beloved Victory got deplatformed from YouTube. So now if we want to listen to him, he was still streaming on Facebook. But I don't think he probably lasted very long there after the last episode. So he is available now on his own, the Highwire webpage. And I encourage everyone, if you can't make it, on Thursdays evening, just try to go through his stream over the weekend, because it's really very on the ball what's going on in the US. He's kind of commenting on everything that's been happening over the previous weekend, week. So it's really, really very, very good source of information. Now, I believe we have next week, we have the protest against censorship with the Yellow Vests on the 6th at 2 o'clock at the Custom House again. So if anybody can make it, I know it's during the week, but if anybody can make it, it would be great to support them. because they got activated now, and they just rolling with what's happening right now. And yeah, I leave a couple of other info. Obviously, the Health Freedom Island is now completely out of the box, and they also joined the forces with Yellow Vest recently at the protest. And we're hoping that we will get more, people coming up to the webpage and getting proper information about informed consent and all the things related to vaccines. And the ladies that work there are really brilliant and very fiery and on the ball with everything. So please visit the webpage as well if you haven't yet. They have this thing about making a video about the upcoming or not vaccine for COVID, and you can always sign the petition. The petition is still there, so make your way maybe to that webpage as well to just check it out. It's still being kind of enriched because obviously it's a non-profit organization, so people just using their own time to do the research and put the very valuable and factual information over there. And for today, I just prepared something lighter. As I promised, maybe a little bit for the ladies in the audience this time. But I think gentlemen also
something
will
for
find
the ladies, you say, Kasia? Something for the ladies. Well, carry on.
Yes, I think the ladies needs to be also cherished, in the audience for GT. I know that the male kind of ingredient is kind of the majority, but I see it
Not at all,
very
not
active
at all.
ladies.
We love our ladies.
So
we love the ladies. Carry on.
Anyway, first of all, I just wanted to talk about maybe our routines through the day. And something that I find very useful is the morning routine. So as the scientists say, it's good to wake up and within first half an hour, expose yourself to the sunlight. And why is that? Well, of course, it gives us, the uplifting mood, but it actually reduces the production of melatonin in our body. So it wakens us up because melatonin is responsible for that, day and night cycle in our body. So essentially, we need it when we want to fall asleep, quickly and efficiently, and get really healthy, rejuvenating sleep. And then the melatonin is produced in our body, and it helps to do so. But it's being reduced in our body under the influence of the sunlight. So essentially, when it goes dark, we should be ready for sleep. We should be putting away all the screens, with this harmful blue light. We should be relaxing, and melatonin is that substance that kind of put us into a nice, healthy sleep, deep sleep. And the more actually we are being exposed to the sun during the day, the more melatonin we will have, surprisingly, in the evening to produce in our body and to give us that healthy sleep. Now, it's very important, not only for vitamin D that I mentioned previously on the shows, but also for actually the healthy sleep, to be exposed to the sunlight during the day as much as possible. And for this morning routine, is nice to get yourself exposed to the sunlight in the first half an hour, and then join it with some nice routine exercises. It might be a jog outside, it might be some exercise on the balcony or in our backyard. I, for instance, do some jumping on the trampoline in the morning is also quite fun. And if somebody has some kind of equipment like that, you can use it. You can go out to the balcony, and that helps to use our free fatty acids that are accumulating in our blood and keep us in that kind of ketosis state. So instead of using glycogen from our muscles we're using the free fatty acids circulating in our blood in the morning if we do not eat anything and go first for exercising, and then later on we have our breakfast. So that's kind of, you know, ideally how we should maybe start our day. Then I just wanted to mention, it will be all kind of natural today and something that we can do ourselves fairly cheaply. So I wanted to mention about cryotherapy, and also making the audience realize that a lot of things that are now very popular or fashionable, they've been already used, you know, sometimes for centuries or sometimes for thousands of years, and people actually knew a lot of things that we kind of rediscovering at the minute again, about fasting, about you know, treating ourselves with cold. That is something that's been you know, out there among our ancestors being practiced, and it's really not anything new. So the cryotherapy is a very interesting subject. I'm sure everybody heard about Wim Hof, who is propagating this kind of treating ourselves with cold showers and exposing ourselves to really a proper cold. And this way we you know, strengthen our body, we strengthen our immune system, we modulate a lot of things, you know, we modulate maybe even pain, we modulate the stress. But that kind of thing, it's been out there before. We know that, for instance, in ancient times, in the baths, traditional, you know, thermal baths, there was this cold, hot bath, cold bath thing going on, and our ancestors were using it. The same way with the traditional banyos in Russia or Finland, the kind of using of sauna, really, you know, very hot, steamy conditions, and then, you know, plunging into some hole, you know, in the ice, covering the, let's say, a lake or river or something. So that's being still practiced and been out there. And the other thing is that I came across a very interesting information some time ago, and this is something for the ladies in particular to ponder on. In the 18th and 19th century, there was a very famous Polish noble lady, and I was trying to find another example like that, you know, from other countries, being Ireland, England, or anywhere. Actually, I couldn't find anything, so I have only this one as an example, but it's a very good one. So that noble lady, she actually was born in mid 1800s, sorry, mid 1700s, and she lived very long till kind of her early 90s. She was a woman. She was a wife or a viceroy in the Kingdom of Poland, but at that time we already were under the rule of Russia and Prussia and Austria. So we weren't entirely, you know, free country, kind of sort of autonomic. Anyway, this lady was very famous in Europe. And why she was very famous? Because she was very young looking for many years. She was very beautiful. Of course, she was very famous for her, you know, balls and parties, and famous people all over Europe knew her from kind of nobleman environment. And she was famous because she was using this cryotherapy to keep herself very young and well preserved, so to speak. So she was sleeping in the room, open windows, full of, you know, bowls with cold water and ice during the summer. She was sleeping with open windows in complete cold, freezing conditions in winter. And mind you, winters, you know, years or centuries ago, particularly in Poland, were really serious ones. Like there was no nonsense winters. So I can't even imagine how she was doing that. She was taking only the cold showers. She was rubbing herself with ice, particularly before, the evening kind of entrance to the ball or party. She was making sure that her skin is very kind of with this kind of redness that implicates that you are youthful, you have good circulation, you have those rosy cheeks. So she was eating actually raw cold food. She was walking like 10 kilometers, of course, riding horses. That was a usual sport for noble men and noble women at that time. And she, at her age of, I believe, around 70 years old, she had actually a very young lover, 40 years old, her junior. And another very interesting anecdote about her was that a famous French writer, Honoré Balzac, was visiting at the time Poland, or whatever was left out of Poland. That was the first half of the 19th century. And he met her. And she was at that time in her 70s, or 70 years old, something around these lines. And he was actually, and we know it because he did the memoirs. He noted that episode. He wrote about this meeting. So he thought that she was only 35. So that must have been really an excellent result that she was getting from treating herself like that. And this is something that we, of course, not in that severe manner use. So like hot and cold showers in the morning, I do recommend it, and I do it myself. It's a very good way to awakening and get the circulation going, and we don't have to go straight into the cold water if we don't want really shock waking up. But after the regular warm shower, it's good to kind of rinse yourself with proper cold water. It's really good for your skin and for your circulation and the mood. So that's something like that. Obviously, Wim Hof also talks a lot about, the proper breathing exercises. And these actually also can help to get into the cold water. And I myself, tried it once when I was on holidays, and it was quite cold, although it was already May in Italy. And they had that open, beautiful open swimming pool, but the water wasn't heated. And at the time, weather for some reason was quite kind of cool for Italy at the time. So I didn't want to go to any of those small swimming pools with plenty of children and adults and those rings that they are swimming in that were heated and covered. So I said, okay, either I will go to that swimming pool or I'm not gonna swim, on this holiday at all. And I did the breathing exercises that I found on one of the, videos that Wim Hof has plenty of on YouTube. And I dipped myself slowly in that water, and the water was cold, really cold. I had no unpleasant feeling. I was enjoying the swim. I actually got out in this quite windy weather. I still wasn't feeling cold. So this thing really works. So it's really, if you have time in the morning and you want to do this cold shower thingy, it's good to do the breathing exercises, and you can find it plenty of the videos from Wim Hof how to do it. I can drop one or two also in the notes. The other thing that I wanted to talk about today is actually using quite natural substances to look after ourselves. It might be, the morning routine for ladies with the facial. It might be the way we relax and bath. What we can use to look after our hair. And for instance, hair is not only something that ladies are worrying about, but a man at some stage also might be worried about, losing some hair and what you can do about it. So I'm a big fan of essential oils. And of course, for someone from outside, it might sound that this is very kind of mambo jumbo and it's not really proven. And funnily enough, essential oils and compounds from plants in general are used heavily in pharmaceuticals, in big pharma. It's just that they are not using purely, alone, because nothing that is natural you can patent. So, they are being used in their concoctions for whichever, drugs and substances that they prepare for various, diseases or conditions. But they are heavily used, and the power of plant content compounds is really strong. For instance, I read from a lady that is kind of an expert on essential oils, that when they opened in 1922 the famous tomb of Tutankhamun, they actually found a small glass pot with some remnants of frankincense, which was one of the main sources for essential oils in the antiquity. And that was still smelling. You could still smell after so many thousands of years this compound. So the essential oils are really powerful. That's why we're using them in a very small amounts, usually in carrier oils. And they have really powerful effect. If you, for instance, put some lavender on your skin, that's the only oil that you may actually use without a carrier oil, because it's really very versatile and very very delicate. Like, it doesn't have maybe a strong effect that might burn a little or irritate the skin like some other essential oils, which you might be very careful with. The compounds, the active ingredients from essential oils are getting into your skin. It's actually the best way to use it topically, and within 20 minutes the volume of those compounds is the highest in your blood, and then after 1.5 hours it's gone. So actually they work very quickly. But for instance, if someone using it topically for, let's say, a skin condition or something like that, you probably need to kind of reuse it a few times during the day, because they go within 1.5 hours roughly from your bloodstream. But it shows how quickly they actually get into your bloodstream, and they do whatever they do there, whichever essential oil it is. They have all sorts of very positive influences on our health. So for instance, for the morning evening routine, for ladies, I would say, if we wash our face, and that's something that I also took from an 80-something-year-old Japanese lady who looked so youthful and so fresh. She was saying that she just washing her face with warm water and some very delicate soap, and then she uses the cold water to kind of cool the skin down. And then she uses a very simple routine using the carrier oil. Jojoba oil, for instance, is very good for skin. And she was using actually the only that carrier oil, but you can add, for instance, and drop per 1 teaspoon of, for instance, frankincense oil, which is very good for balancing the secretion of sebum, of oil on your face. You can use rose otto, and this is for all types of skins. You can blend it 50-50, rose otto with frankincense, and that's very nice rejuvenating mixture for mature skin. I will leave all those recipes, under the show, so you can later on kind of check it out and use it. Lavender oil is very good for all types of skin, and lavender is good for a lot of things. Actually, it's one of the kind of main essential oils that if someone uses them, you should have it in your cabinet, because it has a lot of different purposes. It's relaxing, it heals wounds. It can be used, for instance, for the facial routine. It's actually antimicrobial, so a very versatile oil and very kind of soft, very delicate. Then neroli for all types of skin. Chamomile in lower concentration also is using for all type of skin, and sandalwood, it's actually quite expensive, for dry skin. So why I'm actually saying all these things, I'm thinking as well in the sense of that, probably harsh times are coming, and maybe there will be shortage of all sorts of things, including cosmetics, which are on its own sometimes quite toxic. The stuff that is being put into cosmetics is actually a separate story to tell. And I've moved to kind of natural ingredients and stuff that I can get maybe after proper researching in health shops long time ago. I don't actually go to Boots anymore for pretty much anything. You can use these things like carrier oils. It might be almond oil, it might be coconut oil, it might be hemp seed oil. There is a range of carrier oils that you get in a health shop, or you can get actually big pharmacies also have quite a big collection of essential oils and carrier oils, and you can actually do at home your own cosmetics, your own like body lotion, your own hair conditioner. And if we get few of basic things, we actually might be not worried that a cream will finish and then we might not get it in the shop or whatever. There is a lockdown and you can't really go shopping properly and all that kind of stuff. So there's a lot of things that we can do ourselves, for us, for our children as well, not to use harsh cosmetics and to just be a little bit more independent of all those things. So just coming back to that, for the mixture of something for the face, you can prepare a mixture of 2 teaspoons, which is 10 milliliters, and 1 drop of any of the essential oils, depending on your type of skin. Now, you might have heard that, for instance, coconut oil is something that you can use even as the skin lotion. So coconut oil, it can be used, but there is something that is called comedogenic ratings from 1 to 5, and that actually describes how much a given oil can or cannot block your pores. So essentially, for the face, and if somebody has problems, skin prone to acne or something like that, you should look for the carrier oil that is less than 2 in this rating. And unfortunately, coconut oil is rating 4. So if anything, I would say rather skin like the body. But if somebody has particularly maybe oily skin or is prone to acne, not only on the face, I would go rather for other oils, like, for instance, grapeseed oil, hemp seed oil, sweet almond oil, and also apricot kernel oil for combination on dry skin. And I can drop a link as well that you can actually read about it, because it might give you some ideas which oil would be the best for your skincare, if you would like to go that direction and use natural oils and essential oils for your skincare, be it face or body. There is also a Facebook page that you can get natural cosmetics, and that's actually quite interesting, because a lot of cosmetics, is not all of them, the conventional ones that we buy, they have usually some water in them, especially creams for face, because it's supposed to be kind of maybe not so dense, and you need them to be being nicely kind of integrated into your skin. And if you put water in anything, you're exposing that substance to microbial growth. So that's why cosmetics have a lot of preservatives as well. So that lady that I believe lives in Roscommon, she started from her all some kind of health problems, and she was trying to resolve some skin issues. I don't remember now whether it was her or her child. And she started making those natural creams, and it actually grew into a proper business right now. It's called Simply Botanicals on Facebook. You can find her, and she produces all sorts of natural, creams and other, cosmetics. Apparently, very good zinc cream for that can also be treated as a sunscreen for kids. And she doesn't use water at all. She was searching and working with various specialists, chemists, and people just really well versed in that area of producing cosmetics and mixing things, and she produced her own line, and apparently is very, very good and very popular. And she has a steadily growing audience of clients. So you can check it out as well. Now, for instance, evening care for skin, especially prone to acne, and it might be something for teenagers or even young people. There is one thing that is actually quite also versatile in usage. This is castor oil. And if you, for instance, mix gently, the 1 tablespoon of castor oil and 1 tablespoon of any carrier oil, for instance, almond or even olive oil, and keep it for 30 minutes, kind of nicely massaged into your face, or leave even overnight, it actually has very good results for skin prone to acne. So castor oil, particularly black castor oil that I believe is produced in Jamaica, is very good for hair, for growing back places that we're losing a little bit of hair, especially maybe on the hair line. It has apparently fantastic results for people who are struggling with thin hair. So that's something that you can also prepare. 2 parts of castor oil and 1 part of carrier oil, for instance, like coconut. You kind of melt it in. You can add rosemary essential oil, which is very good also for strengthening hair. And you can put such a mask, under the hot towel for, let's say, from 30 minutes to even 3 hours or even overnight, and then properly wash your hair. That kind of mask, conditioning of your hair with this oil gives apparently very good results. Then we have also facial spritz we can produce with mineral water, rose water that you can also get in pharmacy, and aloe vera juice, glycerin. These ingredients all you can get actually in pharmacies, and compose your own cosmetics, and then, for instance, a couple of drops of rose absolute essential oil. Keep it in the fridge. It's very nice to use as a kind of a facial spray. You can also use facial spray or as a tonic, just rose water that you can get in health shop or pharmacies. I also have a very good recipe that I actually got from a proper Polish prepper, like the ones in America that they can just survive any nuclear war with all the ways to deal in wildness, building things, using herbs. He's actually a herbalist, 70-year-old herbalist and a proper prepper. And he prepared for ladies a very kind of nice cleansing routine for the face. And apparently some celebrities in Poland went for him, for learning that kind of routine, and they are using it. That's what he is saying anyway. So you boiling 2 tablespoons of yarrow. We know that herb. in 1 liter of water. And then you kind of do the steaming, right? You put your head over the bowl of this water with boiled yarrow, 2 tablespoons of dry herb, and you keeping your head, steam under the towel over this bowl for 5 minutes. Then you're using the cotton pads just to cleanse nicely everything, on your face. And then while there is another pot of boiled water, 1 liter, with the juniper powder. So the juniper berries, the best way is really to powder it for better effect when you kind of boil it, and then you steam your face again over it, and that kind of works and as antiseptic, cleanses everything nicely. And then after the steaming for 5 minutes under that next bowl with juniper in it, then you kind of splash properly your face with very cold water to close the pores. And this is actually the cleansing routine that you can use, and I leave the recipe as well. And the other thing that we can do, of course, in the evening, as an evening relaxing routine, is baths with Epsom salts, magnesium salts, that are very relaxing. You can always add essential oil to it. And there are some nice sensual massages for him and for her that I leave also in the description, that you can use as a nice relaxing romantic evening. And another thing that I just wanted to quickly mention is for hair. A lot of ladies uses dyes and goes for hairdressers, to go through all that process of dyeing, your hair with some particular color that you like. If someone likes the color of red in different shades, burgundy, mahogany, any of those, I would actually recommend checking out proper henna. I used to do the dyeing with, regular commercial dyes over a decade ago, because I always was kind of fancying that kind of redness in the hair. But I noticed very quickly that apart from the fact that it's a very toxic product, essentially, it actually washes out really in a nasty way, and after a couple of weeks, it doesn't look nice. So I discovered henna, proper henna that they use in, Asia, and they're actually in pharmacies and in health shop in particular, and sometimes even you can check it out in all sorts of Asian shops here. They have a couple of shades of henna there usually, and they are cheaper than any health shop or any pharmacy or, Boots or anything like that. You can use it. I know it's a little bit of a messy process, but I actually I use it for over a decade now. It has a very good effect on hair. It makes it, a little bit thicker. It's conditioning, and it's absolutely natural. And after so long use, the color is never really washing out. You kind of have to, do it maybe once in, 6 weeks or something, to kind of treat your roots, because we don't like, the roots to be looking too obvious. But this is something that you can use. It's very natural. It actually strengthens your hair. It's absolutely not toxic because it's completely plant-based, and it gives really nice results if anybody likes that kind of burgundy, mahogany, red shades on the hair. So that's kind of from me today about what you can do, naturally, without using toxic products, and also have some fun with it, because I think, doing some natural cosmetics for some ladies at least might be actually quite fun thing to do, and makes you feel independent as well.
Lovely, Casey. Lovely. Great stuff, Casey. Thanks for jumping in there. And like you said, you're going to leave all your bits and pieces in the comment section after the show. Any links?
Well,
I'll pin it to the top of the comment section up above. Okay, so we're going to leave it up there. I hope that made up for the lack of exposure there last week. We actually lost count of the days, and I misplaced it. So my apologies there. So we'll let you go, and we're going to tune in. We're going to tune in for Fiona Marie Flanagan tonight. Looking forward to that. And I want to say great feedback there to the live chat. Really loving your information there, Casey. Lots of interaction going on there. So I'm sure they're going to those people will be looking forward to checking in with your comments in the comment section down afterwards. Thanks very much for that, Keisha. Anything to say before we head off for the weekend?
Sorry?
Anything to add just before we let you go for the weekend?
For the weekend, well, no, I guess enjoy the weather, because I think that it's gonna be nice, you know, and think about those protests ahead if you can make it. There is also one more thing that I actually, because I met Professor Dolores and this protest, and she mentioned a very interesting thing that, you know, the school is coming, you know, slowly but surely, and they are opening it. So she suggested that it's good maybe to try to survey the parents that you know from your classes, from the classes of your kids, maybe single out the ones that are kind of like-minded, and you know, then talk to the schools, you know, what actually they are introducing, how it's gonna work. And for me in particular, the problem I have is what's gonna happen when somebody, you know, will get sick, or potentially sick, or, you know, will be a potential COVID patient, be it teacher or a kid, because that thing that they put out there, that they will put in some isolated place, they will call the parents. I'm not that trustful anymore as to how actually it's gonna work out in practice, and what they can possibly pull out, you know, what they have up their sleeves, you know. So I think it's worth to find the community of parents that might have the same concerns, and you know, go out to the school, you know, in kind of in more than one person, because then they might reckon with your concerns, and see actually what they are planning to do, and, you know, put out as well your kind of, you know, expectations and demands. And if not, maybe homeschooling, you know, because Professor Dolores was saying the money that's going to school is according to how many children is in the school. So if we are going to take out our children, you know, then they might be reckoning, you know, and rethinking the whole arrangement that they want to put out there.
Very good, Keisha. Yeah, got a very good thoughts there. I appreciate that. Thanks very much, Keisha. We're going to let you go there, and we're going to wind up the show. Talk to you soon. Take care. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to wrap up there. A little bit of an overspill. I know a lot's going on. I know Gemma's streaming from down in Croke Park. You can find her over on her website, GemmaO'Doherty.com. If you want to catch up on what's happening over outside Croke Park, be sure to tune in with her over there. I will see you again later on this evening with the one and the only Fiona Marie Flanagan. Please be sure to tune in, 8 p.m. Greenwich Mean Time. And we'll start off. We'll see you over there. Live chat. I'll see you later on this evening. Thanks very much for your support. Us, ladies and gentlemen. Have a great day.